Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to my new friends. Welcome to the friends that have been with me. And we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to chit chat about some boring stuff that we have to do called buying food and preparations. But I figured I'm going to start a very small series because I do get a lot of people asking me about pantry questions and stockpile questions. So I did do a video and I did a tour of my pantry, my working pantry and my kitchen pantry. And we talked about what the difference is. We also talked about what a stockpile is. So I will link that in the description below and you can check that out for further details and information. But for tonight, I want to talk about the first part of the series, which is how and what to do to create a stockpile for situations that might come up in life. And what do you put in a stockpile? That is one question 3 people ask me. What in the world do I put in a stockpile and how do I start it? So let's roll with this. So here's my thought. I've got this lovely little basket full of goodies and we're going to talk about what's in here. But here's some of the questions that you need to ask. Who are you feeding? Who in the world is in your family? Okay, so do you have a husband? Do you have children? What ages are the kids? What are the things that they like to eat? What are the kind of things do you want in the house for them? Do you have pets? Do you need to have food for pets? Do you have elderly parents that live with you? Are you by yourself? You know, whatever. You know your family unit. So we do not want to be buying things that, you know, don't buy a can of mushrooms and everyone in your family hates mushrooms. Like, we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be hoarding things that we're never going to use. What we want to do is prepare. We want to think through loss of income. Maybe you've been ill. Maybe one of the kids gets sick and you just can't get out because of that. There's times where, you know, maybe you're working overtime for the next 2 weeks and you're like, when am I going to get food shopping? These are the kind of things. It could be weather related, you know, ice storms or hurricanes or whatever the case might be, depending on where you live. We get hurricanes all the time here in New Jersey. So thinking through the emergency type situations that might come up. You have your pantry that you work out of every week in the kitchen. You have your pantry that we call the working pantry that you will shop from and pull from. But now you want to go above and beyond that and have a stockpile. Again, we're not hoarding. This is like a hobby to me. I love reading up on, you know, how to build a root cellar, and I've been doing this for years. I've never created any of these great, wonderful things. Someday I will. Someday. I keep telling my husband when we retire, I want certain things. But I love reading about this. And they tell you to have 6 months to a year's worth of food. A lot of the preppers and not the crazy preppers, but some of the other preppers will have 2 years. And people, 2 years? How can you have 2 years worth of food? I shop week to week. Well, think about what we just came out of, or are coming out of, or still in, but are doing better, however you want to look at it. We went through a pandemic of 4 to 5 months, have flown by. So if you have 6 months to a year's worth of food, you would not have to have gone out and grocery shopped during that pandemic at all. You would have had enough things to sustain you. So part 1 is going to be what kind of food items, and then we're going to get into other things. But what are some food items? What should we be stocking up on? And we're going to start with basically going to the Dollar Tree. I also have some Dollar General here, just because I just happened to be there, and so I got a combination. But we're talking like Walmart prices, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, maybe even Family Dollar. You might have a pocketbook that's bigger than that. And that's great. You can shop wherever you want. It's the same style food items, but you shop where you want. But I wanted to keep this at a baseline that most people could afford, the Dollar Tree or Walmart or something like that. Now, Dollar Tree might be $1, Walmart might be 98 cents. Listen, I'm not going to quarrel over 2 cents. You go where you shop. If I go to the Dollar Tree, it's not worth my gas and time to run to Walmart for 2 items that I could have saved 5 cents on. But, and the same goes in the reverse. If I go to Walmart and it's $1.25 and the Dollar Tree was $1, I'm not going to quibble over that. I just will go one place and that's it. That's me. So let's talk food. What kind of things would you stock up on? So I'm going to line a few things up here, and then we're going to walk through it together as to why would I have bought certain items, and like, does it even make sense why I would have bought these things? So let me get a few goodies out here, and let's have a look and see what in the world would I purchase from the Dollar Tree or Dollar General or from Walmart. And again, you can go to your local grocery store. All right, let's see. I tried to think of a variety of things. Okay, so in our family, I have a family of, excuse me, I have a family of 3 that are living home. If my other 2 kids come home, I have a family of 5. So in my mind, I always plan for 5 people because my older 2 kids know that this is their home. I don't care where they live, but this is always home. And if there was ever an emergency or a situation, we would pull our resources to take care of them. So that's what I do. So what could we do? Well, you want to think of things that have a long shelf life, that you can look and go, the expiration date is, oh wow, this is great. You don't want to buy things that you have to use in the next 3 to 4 weeks, the next 2 months. You don't want to buy cans of things, oh look, this is a great buy. Okay, maybe you got it on clearance for 30 cents, but the expiration date is either this month or last month or in the next 2 months. That's great, grab it. Put that in your kitchen pantry, not in your stockpile. Your stockpile needs to be things that can have a year to 2 years worth of expiration dates on them, so you do not need to worry. So here's what we're going to do. Let's talk beverages, okay? I don't have water here, but you should have water. If you drink from the tap, that's great, but if for some reason, like if our electric goes out, we have no water. We would need a resource for cooking, feeding the pets, drinking and feeding ourselves, cooking up food, and so on. So you need to have water. So whether you buy gallons of water or bottles of water, my rule of thumb is I like 3 gallons per person and 3 cases of water in our emergency stash stockpile. That's what I want that we don't touch. Now granted, I buy another case, you rotate one in, you rotate one out because you want to keep it fresh. But that's pretty much what I want to have on hand at all times for an emergency situation. We lived through Sandy a number of years ago, Hurricane Sandy, if some of you remember the devastation here at the shore area. And we were, I think it was 3.5 weeks, Graham, without power, no toilets, no running water, no power, no nothing for 3.5 weeks. So what do? I have no water for 3.5 weeks. So having those types of things on hand can help. Okay, so let's regroup here with all the things that we have, see what kind of choices we are starting with. Now, I'm not telling you to go out right now and buy all this food. This is probably $20 worth. Not everybody can afford to do that. If you can afford $1 a week, start with $1 a week. You can start with $5 a week. That's probably the best. $20 a month. Everybody's budget is different. You do what you can, but let's talk about ideas, so maybe that'll help you get started. This whole video is on how to create and start a stockpile and what to have in it. So milk. Okay, this is shelf-stable milk. I bought this in March of 2020. The expiration date is March 2021, so I have a whole year's worth of definitely a year's worth. It could go longer. You don't have to use it on the exact date. But let's just say we went on the exact date. I have a whole year's worth of shelf stableness here. This is from the Dollar Tree, $1. Buy this on Amazon, same brand, same size, $5.41. You do the math. Okay, so we'll probably need some milk for our kids, for our coffee, for your cereal, for the pets, whatever. So that's an option. Outside of the water that I said that I would keep, I would probably want to have milk for my basic cooking and baking or whatever. Now, along with that, we don't always want to drink just water or milk or something like that for breakfast, and my husband and I love coffee. So instant coffee, you might not be able to use your coffee maker. Sometimes, just situations with electric and power and whatever. Instant coffee is a good standby to have. It's great in recipes in addition to just having it. You could take it when you travel if you don't know what else to use it for. But instant coffee, tea, different flavors tea. Again, you get what you know you will eat and use. Don't get things just because, well, Lynn had it in her stockpile, it might be a good thing. No, no, no. These are my ideas for my family, but you get what works for you. Now, along with that, how about some powdered creamer for your coffee? You might not want to use your milk up for your coffee because you have to use that for recipes, so maybe opt for a powdered creamer that you can use for your coffee. These are things, again, I don't necessarily use the milk, but the coffee, the powdered creamer, these are things that we would use on the regular, whether we use it daily in the house or on trips and so on. So either way, none of this would go to waste in my house. These are things that we use. You have kids, hot chocolate. Another thing with the hot chocolate, when we went through Sandy or you go through an emergency situation, sometimes you just need something comforting. And a cup of hot cocoa at the end of a day when you've been through a tragic situation or something that causes trauma, it's a comfort. Everybody sit down, we're just going to make, people say, make a cup of tea or let's make some hot chocolate, and it just sort of calms the spirit. So in addition to just being an extra beverage, it's just comfort food as well. It contains milk, so you don't have to add milk to this, you're just adding water. Some type of a sugar. We like Splenda. This is a Splenda alternative. We get this at the Dollar Tree. It's cheap, $1 for 50 packets. But maybe you need regular sugar. You need sweet and low. Whatever you might need. This is something we use on the regular. I have it in my pantry. I have it in my working pantry. But I need it in my stockpile. Again, stockpile is the next 6 months, a year to 2 years worth of food that you want to have on hand for emergency, whatever that might classify situations. Okay, peanut butter. You need a source of protein. Kids eat peanut butter and jelly. You could eat a peanut butter sandwich and you could sustain yourself on that. You don't have to have meat. You know, you're in a situation, what am I going to make? You might not have power. You can make a peanut butter sandwich. So now bread, obviously you can't keep bread for 2 years. It would be quite moldy. But think about what can I use instead. You can use crackers. You can use rice cakes. There's all kinds of other options like that. Think through, like, what would you do? Have crackers, but check expiration dates because you don't want to keep crackers. Crackers don't last much past the expiration date, so I would make sure you're always rotating them. Peanut butter, 2 years, shelf stable, no problem. You could probably go to 2.5 years. This one expires 2022, so there we go. Okay, what are some other things that we might need? Fruit. You might want to just keep some fruit. Now, these are at the Dollar Tree, 3 for $1. Not the best deal. Yes, you can get a 6-pack at Walmart and some other places. I was at the Dollar Tree. I picked it up. But just fruit. You want to make sure if you're in an emergency situation that you have a balanced diet the best you can. Your plates might not look like a Pinterest-worthy meal, but you can have a peanut butter sandwich or peanut butter and crackers and have a cup of fruit with it, and that would be a decent, sustainable meal for you to get by on. Okay, and these are things too, like grab and go. You have an emergency, You have an emergency situation in the house, you must leave the house, and you want to pack a few things. We got to get in the car and we have to go. What can I bring with me? We got to eat. Grab bread, cracker, something with peanut butter, some fruit, some water bottles, maybe some juice cups, whatever you have that you can eat, and make sure that the family has something to eat for the next couple of hours. These rice cups, this is Rice-A-Roni. This was at the Dollar Tree. You just add some water, mix it up. There you go. You've got a nice carb. If you wanted to, you could add a vegetable, sprinkle a little bit of a vegetable in here, and then you sort of have like a fried rice type thing, a vegetable along with the rice. This is something great. You just peel it back, no dirty dishes, cook it right in here, add some hot water, add a vegetable, and you're good to go. Baked beans, a great meal. The expiration date on this is 2023. So we're doing really well now. This is a good size can. This is 20 ounces. This is from the Dollar Tree. And baked beans on toast. My husband and I grew up eating that. Beans are a source of protein. Is it the most glamorous meal? Absolutely not. But it will give you what you need and sustain you. So that's an option. In our family, see this bottle of ranch dressing? This is worth gold. This is worth thousands and millions and trillions and gazillion dollars. If I run out of ranch or I run out of ramen, I'm in big trouble with my son. Our son is special needs. He has autism. One of his special needs, he has other special needs as well. But when you have autism, there's things that are very exact, that need to be exact in your life. They're very, they stick to certain things. And this is something on a daily basis we must have. Might sound silly to you, not a big deal to you. It's a big deal to us. And again, you're designing this for your family's needs. So I would stockpile something like this. Vegetables, cans of vegetables. I joke with a friend of mine, Susan, and we always laugh and we say most of us have at least a can of green beans in our kitchen cabinets, and if that's all we had to eat, we could live on a can of green beans for a day or two. And that's pretty true. Like, we don't have to have, the perfect so many ounces of this and so many ounces of that. That's great, but in an emergency, you just need food. So cans of vegetables. This is shelf stable until 2023. This is 2020. I have 3 years that I can have this can of peas. Will I? Probably not. We will rotate them in and out. Stockpile vegetables. Great source of nutrition. Cans of ravioli. This has meat in it, it has tomato sauce in it, and it has pasta in it. You need a meal to sustain you and the kids. The kids will like this. This is great. You want to have a little bit healthier? Add your peas to it. You want a little bit healthier? Go ahead and add your fruit to it. Again, this is not a Pinterest-worthy meal, and but we're stockpiling things that we can eat in an emergency situation. Okay, cans of tuna. I'm telling you, one of the best. It's great. It's a can, and this one is 2022. Again, 2 years on this. Tuna is a great source of protein. You could eat this out of the can. You don't need the mayonnaise. You don't need to heat it up. You can pop the top and eat it right out of the can. Great source of protein. This is something my son really has enjoyed. Chicken and dumplings at the Dollar Tree. It has carrots, chicken, and noodles. And he loves it. He's a fusspot, very particular. He loves it. Again, think, I have my son. What does he like? I need to build a stockpile that would accommodate my family's needs. So something like this is comfort food for him, and he would enjoy this. Couple of quick other things. Just ramen. These are egg noodles, some kind of pasta. Everybody needs carbs. Carbs help stress. You're in a stressful situation. We're not worrying about salad and that we're eating. My husband is laughing as I'm saying this. When you're in an emergency situation, if the camera is shaking, that's because my husband's cracking up. You're not going to be worrying about having your greens. If you do, grab your can of peas or your green beans, and there's your peas, or there's your greens. But you're not going to eat salad. You're going to need stuff like this that you can eat and feel, you want to fill the bellies of the family. So take this and put the tuna on it, add some peas, whatever the case might be, and you've got something really good. Okay, couple other things. Meats. Well, what do? You can't maybe go in the freezer because the electric's out or whatever. Deviled ham spread. I had this when I was a kid. I spotted this at Dollar General, and I actually did not get this for the stockpile, but it would be a great thing for it. But I got this as a treat for just me because I love this stuff. I know most people go, ooh, I like it. Anyway, pop the top. You can eat it right out of the can. No heating, no fuss, no bother. You can make a sandwich. You can put this on crackers, whatever you need to do, but it is a source of protein. Another thing here, this was, I think, it says $1.99, honey. I don't know if you remember. This expires 2025. Now, people might say, do you know how many preservatives are on that? Listen, at this point, if I'm in an emergency, I need all the preservatives I can get because that'll just keep me going. Hickory smoked ham. It's a small ham. For my family of 3, add that over to the noodles with the vegetable. We're good to go for a meal. Slice it up as a sandwich. You have no bread. You have nothing. All you have is a canned ham. You cut it open. Everybody gets a chunk. You can gnaw on that and be good. But this is something, think about this. It's a small canned ham, but it would last for 5 years. This would be a great source of protein, nutrition, to allow you to feel like you can get up and go, you've had something to eat. Another one is corned beef. This came from the Dollar General as well. And I wish I had kept the receipt so I could tell you. Looking for the expiration on this. Where is it? I know by law they have to put it on here. Here we go. 2024. Okay? I got 4 years on this. You can fry this up. You can make a sandwich. Do you have to cook it? No, you can eat this cold if you had to. So if you have no power, you can eat this cold. So that's another thing. As great as this is to have, if you have no source or a way of cooking, what could you do? You could open a can of tuna. You could open up a can of ham. You could open up baked beans. You can eat them cold. You can open up vegetables. You could eat these cold. This milk you can use. I don't know what else. You get the picture. The fruit, the peanut butter. Those are things that you don't need to warm up to cook and have a resource for. So what do? How do you get started? You start with $1. You go out and buy one item at the Dollar Tree. One item for 98 cents at Walmart, whatever the case is. You have more than $1 that you can spare. Whatever you can spare, you go and you think through. Start with food items. This week, challenge yourself to spend $5 for the week up and coming and buy 5 things that you will not even think. You put it in a box. If you don't know what to do, get a cardboard box and just write Stockpile right on the box. And these are things that you're going to put aside for an emergency situation. Not things that, I have nothing in the house to eat. I don't feel like going grocery shopping, so I'm going to dig through my stockpile. That's not what it's there for. It's there for an emergency situation. So challenge yourself this week. Take $5, $1. If you can do 5, that's great. And go get sustainable things like can of meat, maybe a thing of fruit, a thing of peanut butter, maybe a thing of milk, a vegetable, some crackers. Come up with some ideas, again, to suit your family's needs. And do me a favor, leave me a comment below. Let me know. I went and I spent $1 and this is what I got. I went and spent $3. I spent $5. And tell me the types of items that you got. I think it would be interesting for other people to say, I never thought of getting something like that. Maybe you never thought of getting shelf-stable milk. I never would have thought of that. You know who got me hooked on this? My mother. I never would have thought of buying this. But my parents are older now and they don't go through a lot of milk. So they would buy half a gallon of milk or a gallon of milk and it would go sour. So they've been buying this, and this way they can stash it away. And if they can't get to the store, my mom has a stockpile and she can get into her stockpile with her milk. I said, that's a great idea. I need to be doing that. So let's learn from each other. So leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Tell me what kind of things you're doing. Maybe you already have a stockpile and you don't really need to buy anything. Give us some tips on what do you do. I want to really thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule and coming by to visit me and my channel. I hope you feel welcome at my home. I hope I've made you feel encouraged that I can do this. I can do $1 worth. I can do $5 worth. I can build a stockpile. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for coming by, and we'll catch you on the next video.